I will be telling y'all the history of Armenia. Starting. Armenia, as a name, the actual name of the country, came from the first time on an inscription where it mentioned Armani together with Evla in the current region of Diyarbakir, Turkey, way long ago, several hundred years in the BC, super long ago. But now to the actual history. The kingdom of Armenia's history started out with the Urartu, which was the first real country that held the Armenian territory in the 800s BC to the 500s BC, and their rival was the Neo-Assyrian Empire. Their capital was Tushpa, which is the modern-day city of Van in Turkey. In 714 BC, the Assyrians defeated Urartu. Later, the satrapy of Armenia arose under the Orontid dynasty, which governed from 585 BC to 190 BC. Many Armenians adopted Zoroastrianism. The Seleucid dynasty controlled Armenia next, and a lot more, but they lost to Rome. The Seleucids got reduced to modern-day Syria and eventually split into Lesser Armenia and Greater Armenia. Greater Armenia was the one to be stronger, hence the name, through since 95 BC to 66 BC, and they ruled a lot of Caucasia, a lot of Turkey and Iran, and other countries there, thus forming the Second Armenian Empire. Armenia then lost to Rome like everyone did, but still lived and was an ally to Rome. But when the leader of Armenia died, Rome came in and took control of all of the territory. In 301, Armenia became the first nation to adopt Christianity, which furthermore enhanced the political rivalry in the area. They made a church that exists independently of both Catholic and Eastern Orthodox churches, which still exists today, and is one of the oldest in the world. Rome died again, so Armenia was split off into Byzantine Armenia and Persian Armenia. Byzantium defeated Persia, taking back most of Armenia, and established the full province of Armenia. The next big moment was when the Mongols invaded Asia and took the Caucasus, including Armenia. But this was good for Armenia. Let me explain. It was good for Armenia since they got access to more trade and money and more political stability, which they built many churches, buildings, and stuff. So it was actually not that bad for them. But after the collapse of the Mongols, Armenia became again under the Persian rule, which this time was the Safavids. Western and Eastern Armenia were fought over back and forth between the Ottomans and Safavids. Yerevan, which is the capital of Armenia, changed 14 times between 1513 and 1737. West became under Ottoman rule, and East became under Safavid rule. As the end to that, the Safavids died, and the Russians took the modern Armenian state from 1828 until 1991. The next big moment for Armenia was in the First World War. But previously, in 1894 to 1896, and a separate time in 1809, the Ottoman Empire slaughtered waves of Armenians. But in 1915, they conducted the Armenian Genocide, and to put it short, they gathered every Armenian they could find, brought them to Ankara, then moved them to the desert, and massacred them. This was carried out before, during, and a little after the World War. The death count estimated is about 1.5 million Armenians. These events are traditionally commemorated yearly on April 24th for Armenia. The Ottoman and Russian Empire collapsed in that war, so Armenia had a brief independence between 1918 and 1920. But that was after the Transcaucasian Federation during the Russian Revolution, where they claimed independence and fought Turkey in the war, which didn't last long. Between 1918 and 1920, Armenia fought both Georgia and Azerbaijan. From land with Georgia and culture in the east. Turkey then invaded Armenia in 1920, but the Soviets beat them to the capital, and Armenia became under Russian rule again. The Armenian Socialist Republic lived between 1922 and 1991, and in the late 1980s, Armenia and Azerbaijan were having some tensions where a region inside the province of Azerbaijan called Nagorno-Karabakh, which is predominantly Armenian, wanted to join Armenia, but Azerbaijan responded with a big fat no. This was the start of the fighting between the two states. It enhanced for furthermore when the Soviets collapsed and both Armenia and Azerbaijan gained their independence. Armenia on August 23, 1990, but the Soviets recognized independence on December 25, 1991. Azerbaijan and their ally Turkey closed their borders and imposed a blockade, which they retain to this day on Armenia, which severely affects their economy. But in October 2009, Turkey and Armenia signed a treaty to normalize relations. Armenia had many presidents, but that's a little lame because every country has. In April 2016, many border clashes between Armenia and Azerbaijan took place, and in September 2020, a full-scale war broke out during the two over Nagorno-Karabakh, and Azerbaijan fully annexed the region and made the Armenians flee to the main state. That is the history of Armenia. Hope you enjoyed. If you want to see my previous ones like Argentina and Angola, go check those out. If you want to see what my next one is, my next one will be out in 2 weeks, and it will be over the history of Australia. Make sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, that is about it. See you later.